go.
Yo, you ready?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I got people piling up right now. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm going to just wait for everybody to get here. Hey, what's up to everybody that's pulling up? What's happening? Yeah. Hey, this shit about to be real interesting, man. So you already know I made a post about about myths that I think are dangerous to the Black community. Hey, everybody that's listening that's in the timeline, can y'all hear me? Y'all good? Okay. So I'm gonna wait for some people to respond, man. But other than that, man, talk to me about your day, man. I'm finna give me something to drink.
Oh man, regular man, just waiting on this trying to tie some loose ends before I go into the little night tomorrow.
Yeah. Get it.
So I had some appointments and stuff that I needed to cancel. That strangely, I had 3 or 4 appointments this week. It just came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that shit happens, man. Sometimes it's weird how sometimes all that stuff gets synchronized when it ain't convenient for you. When you wanted to put them all in the same week, it wouldn't have happened.
Man, they couldn't do it.
Yep. So that's what's up, man. Hey, just glad that somebody able to respond to it. That's important.
Yeah. So I was able to get that done. So I'm just waiting on some paperwork now to come back from my job so I can put in my little leave of absence. But other than that, man, shit.
Word. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So it's been an interesting weekend, man. Me and the wife, we went to go see a concert, bro. We went to see Eric Benet, Raheem DeVaughn, Joe. Boy, hey, them boys still got it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, that was a nice little lineup.
That's a lot, right?
It's a nice little lineup.
Nice lineup. Hey, man, I'm a huge fan of Raheem DeVaughn. I think whoever, if you don't listen to Raheem DeVaughn and you think somebody's better than him, then you don't
listen to Raheem DeVaughn.
Yeah, you need to listen to like Raheem DeVaughn is probably better than most of the people that you think is fine. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here for the debate, not necessarily with you, but anybody that disagree. Because if I had to pick an R&B artist that could speak the language that I'd be speaking to my wife, you know what I'm saying? It'll be Raheem DeVaughn. Raheem DeVaughn could be my representative. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it. Hey, man, it's picking up pretty quick right now. You know what I'm saying? So let's just go ahead and get to it. Hey, man, what's up, man? I appreciate y'all showing up. Welcome to another episode of Code Talk. And, we got some topics, man, that I feel like are worth building on for community. You know what I'm saying? And here today on the celebration of Martin Luther King and his work towards the civil rights movement, I think it's only imperative that we get on live and talk about myths that plague the Black community. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're gonna start with a couple different things. Like me, I look at it. I said I wanted to pick 5 different topics that people can gravitate towards. And I feel like putting the women in the lead is the most important thing. So that's why I got like 3 topics dedicated to what the women want, and then the 2 other topics that's part of the 5 in discussion come from the men, and then I got whatever I want to discuss because you know what I'm saying. Number 1, this is my live feed. So but I do think that the things I discuss gonna add some value here and there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, y'all come on with all your little emojis. And if you ain't listening to Raheem DeVaughn, I don't really care what you're talking about. So until you go get his work, it doesn't even matter.
And I can't even see the emojis that are coming up, but I need them to know they wild.
All right, let's start. Okay, so one of my friends, Vanessa Smith, whom I am a huge fan of because we have talked to each other on a regular basis about individual growth, seeing where people were coming from toxic places and what we were dedicating our energy to. and towards, and I've seen her grow and become something great because she has a whole clothing line that she's been working on that she's crocheted and knitted. Matter of fact, if she's listening right now, which I think she is,
drop that link.
Go ahead and put that link in the comments, man. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna try to do a good service to my people and tell them to send me their links in advance, and I start posting them in my comments and my caption. You know what I'm saying? So everybody know the good reference point to go get them. But Vanessa Smith, you know what I'm saying? She's always on it. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna talk about being an independent woman first and foremost, right? I'm not a woman, and we don't have a woman on three-way right now. I'd like to call somebody, likely. But let's just give our male opinion first, because sometimes we need to have our opinions destroyed or challenged, right? So we can create a space to incorporate new information. I'm all about it, right? Okay, so the myth is that being an independent woman is a bad thing. I don't know who's calling it a bad thing. I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm just saying that the brothers that's in my circle, you and I have very, very good commentary amongst one another, not just because we family, but because we see the issues that women deal with, right? Like from a secondhand perspective, not, you know, we can never be the firsthand perspective.
We can't relate, right?
We can't relate, you know what I'm saying? And we got to be very careful about the language that we use to try to codify how the experience translates to us. And so we shouldn't be trying to interpret and break it down to make it less threatening for them, whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? That's important to them. We need to be putting ourselves in a position to empower one another. So lessening somebody else's experience it's a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not the greatest thing. It's not a culture building thing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, in your personal experiences as a man, what does an independent woman translate to you?
An independent woman, to me, the first thing I think about is her brain,
Okay.
not what she can pay for.
Okay. All right, cool.
Because an independent woman has to be able to think outside of what the majority of women think, like the women she's around in her family, the women that she works with, and just her regular friend.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to unpack. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
Because you just can't get it in one statement. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I made a post before talking about Black women coming from situations where they have a toxic relationship with their mother. You know what I'm saying? So that's a variable too, you know, and depending on where you're located and who you deal with, that variable is going to become, you know what I'm saying, the mainstay, depending on the situation. Do we agree on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you think the myth of the independent Black woman being a bad thing is a man thing, or do you think that's a woman thing?
I think it's both, but I think the majority of it comes from women. Like women kill independent women.
Well, like, would you? Okay, so in that opinion, like most opinions are based on geography, right? Like if you've never been in New York or South Dakota or whatever, you can't talk about people that's in that experience, right?
Right.
Okay, so now tell everybody where you live first, because
I'm from Birmingham, Alabama originally, but I'm living in Montgomery now.
Okay, all right, cool. So based on the geography of the areas that you frequented, you would say that your assessment is based on the women in Birmingham and both Montgomery and probably generally throughout the South, right? So, okay. So I would say that in my travels, like I said, I'm from Birmingham, like, as you know what I'm saying, around the corner, you know.
Around the corner, man.
and I have lived in Afghanistan for a period of time. When I say I lived in Afghanistan, I mean I lived in Afghanistan. You know what I'm saying? I have lived in Korea for 2 years. I have lived at Fort Stewart, Georgia, which is located in Hinesville/Allenhurst and whatever other surrounding community. And I've been at Fort Hood, you know what I'm saying, in the Killeen area since 2006, so about 13 years, right? So I would say.
And before you get into that point, man,
go ahead.
While we was naming cities, shout out to Eastlake, Brown Springs in particular, man.
Yes, sir. Area code 25. What I'm about to say, 35206. You know what I'm saying? Area code 205. From the Bay. With a lake down the street. But when we talk about those things, you know what I'm saying, that like our commentary is relative to our geography. So I don't want people to be upset when they hear somebody else's opinion. That's why I made sure that I brought up the geography. I think that's very important. You know what I'm saying? Because what we believe to be our problem may not be true elsewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So once we got geography established as a metric, let me go ahead and tell you about my personal experiences. Long time before I got married. Everywhere I've been, like with the Army, which is a male-driven society, and you were in the Army once, stationed in Kansas. You know what I'm saying? We can honestly look back and say, and we've had these conversations, that we have more influence than we want to give ourselves credit for.
Okay.
All right. We got equity in the situation. We may not be the cause of a situation, but we have equity in it. Do we agree or disagree?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So once we got that part established, let's work forward from there. So the myth of the strong, myth of the independent woman is a bad thing. I think it's only a bad thing when women feel obligated to offer their resume. Like and let me expand on that, right? So I remember being single, and this one woman wouldn't date me because at the time I didn't have a college degree. Think about that. Now, I had money. You know what I'm saying? I had my plan was solidified. I knew what I was doing. I knew where I was going towards. You know what I'm saying? I knew the goals that I was working for. And I knew that the things I was doing at that present moment in time were conducive to making that goal or that reality, you know what I'm saying, an actual fact. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, but this one particular woman that I was talking to at the time that I expressed interest in, her deal breaker was the fact that I hadn't graduated college by that time. And she was saying, and that was it. Like, she was talking about, since she had gone to college and done all these different things, she needed to meet somebody that was on the same level. Like, why did she think that we weren't on the same level? Because she went to college and graduated in the window of time that she had specified for herself that I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I'm pretty good. I've been doing pretty good for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not here to brag about nothing or any of that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not what it's about. We're talking about the principle of the discussion, right?
Right.
So my point is that in some ways I see what you're saying, like that some women do it to themselves. And I don't think you're saying all women. I think like, and that's me interpreting, you know what I'm saying, your words as your cousin, you know what I'm saying, as your brother, as somebody that talks to you every day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like, we're at a point now where we have to start putting faces to excuses. Do we agree or disagree?
I'm with you.
Okay, because like, you remember that whole Enron thing?
Yeah.
Like, where the people was pretty much, you know what I'm saying, manipulating folks' 401k so they can make some money. Man, hey, turn your dog off, man. Turn your dog off.
Come on, baby. You gotta relax.
So, like, mine about to turn up in a minute. She been back here growling, you know what I'm saying, at the window. But what I'm saying is we're at a place where we have to put faces to negative narratives, right? Because we need to know what it looked like. We need to know how to navigate it. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? We need to know how to figure it out, right?
Right.
So when you say it's both, we just have equity in the situation for different reasons. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. 100%.
All right.
Yes.
I think we both agree that, you know what I'm saying, that it's not a bad thing. It's just that the connotation has been associated with people that have have misrepresented what independent means. Because folks have glorified women that pay their bills, which is a basic thing, right?
Yes, you should be paying your bills.
Right. And when you hear independent woman, I think that's been largely associated with single black women.
Right.
And you could be of any ethnicity and, you know what I'm saying, and behave in an accountable way. So the myth is that we shouldn't be putting them independent in front of women. Do we agree?
Right. She should just be a woman.
Should just be a woman, right?
Just be a woman.
Should be a woman that just handle her business, right? If someone asks. Right. But that shouldn't even be a verifiable conversation.
It shouldn't be a job title.
It shouldn't be a job title. That I agree with that completely. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't be the thing that makes her great. Because if she's a good woman, and most people are generally good, that's not exceptional, right?
Right. You should be a good woman.
There's no way that you can find a way to make being independent a qualifying trait as to why I should be interested in that particular woman, right? Like, right. So I don't feel like a woman should be in a position where she got to tell everybody that she's independent.
Exactly. 100% right.
Yeah.
There's no need for that. It should just be the way you carry yourself should put you in, if that's the light you're trying to be in. But that shouldn't be a notch on your belt, like something that you conquered. It's
not a rite of passage. You know what I'm saying?
Independent woman from birth, but that doesn't.
You imagine if men,
right.
Bro, you imagine men ran around if they were single and handling business and being entrepreneurs and hustlers and stuff like they should be doing anyway. If they was running around here talking about they independent,
they get murdered.
like yo, social media would kill them, right?
If you don't get this thing out of here.
Yeah. Hey man, look, if y'all hear my dog barking, man, they stressed out. Hey, leave them alone. They got PTSD. Everybody in this house got PTSD. All right.
I'm with them.
Yep. Yep. So, so in that regard, I really would like to hear from a woman on that. You know what I'm saying? Because I far be it from me, to try to explain what they feel. You know what I'm saying? So
I would like to understand the thinking behind that. And is that a response? And is the title "Independent Women" a response to all of the? Are you trying to separate yourselves from a group of women by using that tag? Yeah,
I think so. I know who I want to hear from. I'm finna tell Andrea Parker to call me. You know what I'm saying? I respect her commentary. You know what I'm saying? A lot. And she's been A1 and she's very objective. So like, and I'm priming her because I just know she about to call me. I put my number in the thing. So, you know what I'm saying? We find to see what happens. You know? So I want to hear from like maybe 3 women, you know what I'm saying, on that particular topic, because you can't get all inclusive from one person.
No.
But I think when you take a law averages, you know what I'm saying?
We can get some framework.
Yeah, you get some framework.
Get an outline.
Yeah, you get an outline. Absolutely. Man, look, this is why I call you. You know what I'm saying? This is why I got you online, man. Like, it pays to be objective, man. We learn more by leaving reason to have our opinion change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's all about trying to receive some information, man. It's easy to be open-minded if you're looking for information.
Yo, and also too, man, I want to go back to that story that you was telling me, you know what I'm saying? Because like for those of y'all that's listening, man, I talk to my cousin every day. Like, if I don't talk to him every day, I might talk to him every other day. And if I miss a day, I'm probably chopping it up with him for a couple of hours. You know what I'm saying? And we have conversations that are just like the docket in his caption that talk about these 5 different topics, right? We done talked about family. We talk about, man, look, we love our black women. You know what I'm saying? And we want to do our part in protecting them. And in order to protect y'all, you know what I'm saying, the way that we supposed to, we have to understand what y'all deal with. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I think that it's important that everybody sees the objectivity in it. Let's see, my boy Ace just asked me, he said, he got a question for me. He said, was I holding old girl to that certain college degree standard? Nope. I don't hold people. I hold people to standards that based on what they communicate. If you tell me that you bake cakes and that's on a Monday, and then by Wednesday you tell me you're gonna start I don't know, maybe grooming pets. That's not conducive to what we was talking about before.
Yeah, what you do with all
So
the other stuff?
I base my standards and perception on you of how your frequency is, and your frequency is based on what you do every day. You know what I'm saying? So let me see if I can. Yeah, let me tell her to inbox me. Inbox your number.
Yeah, I think that was a good point. Everybody's standards is different.
Yeah, everybody got a different way of evaluating who's important to them and what equity they have in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And for me at that time, I just wanted somebody that was consistent.
So how did she break that down? Because I got a lot of questions after you tell me that.
Okay, so she broke it down. She was breaking it down based on what she's done in the classroom. You know what I'm saying? And she
so
was.
Why you ain't dating nobody in your class?
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as I'm concerned, you know, it became a mutual thing. We were discussing stuff and then it worked out, you know what I'm saying, until we got to that point. Because like when you dating, you know what I'm saying, you don't have to give everybody every single piece of information about you. Agree or disagree?
Right.
You got to earn that.
Not be.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when it got down to the educational piece, you know what I'm saying, piece or whatever, that was a deal breaker for her. And it showed in her action. She wouldn't say it right away, but like it was evident, you know. And then so what I realized at that point was that certain people got requirements. And then because I had requirements, you know, my requirements didn't have anything to do with education, but who am I to take hers away from her if she felt that was important? Right. But I didn't demonize her for it though either. But that just, you know what I'm saying? That's just a story in my life at that point in time.
Right. That's wild though.
But
I've never had that happen.
But that's part of her formula for justifying her independence though. You see what I'm saying?
Then I think we're doing too much.
In that regard, that might be absolutely true, depending on what side of the spectrum you're on, you know?
Because now we're making independence a trophy.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's what I'm saying. It's not a contest.
Right. It shouldn't be a trophy.
It shouldn't be a trophy.
Like your independence and my independence might not be the same.
And they don't come from the same geography, which is why I started off with geography, because where you're located does have an impact on the way that you see certain things.
Exactly. Because like being from the South, relationships are looked at biblically.
Right. Being from this, yeah, absolutely. For those of y'all that didn't hear it, being from the South, relationships are looked at as a biblical thing. You know what I'm saying?
Have a mess around and be married and have a beef with your girl, your wife, and she called her mom. Her mama going, either her mama or her grandmama going straight to what the Bible said about that.
It's true. I don't see because when they can't figure something out based on current metrics, they got to fall back on that.
They got to fall back on something.
Yeah. They
got to have something to stand on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of that deals like that's what hurts the independent tag down here, I think. Because you're supposed to be a submissive person.
Which is
you're not supposed to be standing up saying, I'm doing this. You shouldn't be doing that.
Okay.
Stand behind your man and let him do it.
Okay. Well, let me hit you with this right here. Let me hit you with this question, because you hit a word that's pretty sensitive in Black people in relationships. Is submissive. What does submission mean to you?
To me, submissive means, I look at submissive as weak. Because if a guy is submissive, what if a guy was submissive?
Hey, look, go ahead and reiterate where you're from, because I don't think that's it. But go ahead. I'm not gonna take your experience away from you.
If we call a guy submissive, he weak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want my woman to be submissive.
Okay.
Right? And however you look at that term, I don't want her to feel like she got to stand behind me. Because if you got a better idea than what I got going on, why are you standing behind me?
Okay.
You can't see nothing back there.
So what you're saying is you need somebody that's willing to challenge you.
100%. I'm looking at a business partner, not somebody that I'm in control of.
And you know what? That comes from our conversations too. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point in our lives, as we approach 40, if we're not already 40, we need business partners. You know what I'm saying? My A1s from day one, I ain't never made no fucking money with them. You know what I'm saying? We trying to solidify our equities right now. You know what I'm saying? We trying to solidify our comfort, brother. So that has more to do with the work that we do, right?
Right.
And what we don't want to do is be a detractor. You know what I'm saying? We want to be an addition, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So let me give you my definition of submissive, okay? And I should have included this as a myth, but it's, you know what I'm saying, this conversation opens it up. But for me, submissive is not limited to women. Let me tell you, like I submit to my wife every day. And what I mean by submit is that there's some things that I inherently know that's going to annoy my wife. So I do my best to make sure that she don't have to be annoyed by those things. I can't name anything specifically right now. You know what I'm saying? But they're not a big deal to me, but they're a big deal to her. So I make sure she don't have to encounter the big deal. Is that fair enough to say? That makes sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. And what I'm saying is that I think every man that loves his woman does that thing. You know what I'm saying? To limit her stress, right? To limit whatever it is that annoys her. Because just like men don't want to come home to a situation where a woman is making it hard to be at home, women don't want to come home to that either.
Yep.
Okay. So we agree on that, right? The negative connotation or the myth that's associated with being submissive is that maybe the woman isn't knowledgeable enough about her situation. She's not smart, and that's not true. Because me personally, I'm only going to talk about me. I function under the idea that my wife is a reflection of me. So if somebody else can try her out in the open and she can't defend herself, that's my fault. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not, and she's my responsibility to be able to protect her. But if I'm not with somebody that's equally yoked or minded, or we on the same sheet of music in terms of seeing ourselves as a unit, then I have chosen somebody that's not going to represent me. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that she's not smart. That doesn't mean that she's not, you know what I'm saying, able to defend herself. It just means that she's not for me.
Right.
That doesn't mean she's not good. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean is that we have to quit trying to associate weakness with being submissive. Because I don't like to potentially look at the negativity associated with being submissive, just like a lot of men that might be listening to this are. Okay? My wife is a fucking savage. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to be there. Like she can defend me. You know what I'm saying? And I might just have to come back in and just jump in the fight because she's really that reciprocal about our relationship. I don't have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? And the folks gonna pull up if I gotta defend her because I'm going all the way in.
Yep.
You know, so I think we got to look at that definition with the right perspective and the right lens. I don't think that we have to accept the definition that the myth gives us. Do we agree or disagree?
Right, because it's not a good.
It's a layered thing, right?
Yeah, it's not cool.
No, it's not. It's not cool. Like, why would a man choose a woman that can't defend herself?
You'd be surprised.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I understand why. That's a challenge. That's a challenge.
Because he's the one she needs to defend it from.
Exactly. A lot of time we need defense from ourselves as men and women, right?
Right.
Like, I think a lot of the time that we get, like, the person that you love is not necessarily unconditional. It's that, let me protect yourself from your stupidity. Let me say that again. Sometimes we marry or get in relationships with people that we feel we love unconditionally because they protect us from our own stupidity. And once we realize that, you say, I'm better with you. Like, nobody want to say that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you bad with money and the sex is good and she don't give a fuck, why wouldn't you be with her? like straight up. like what's what I'm saying? Like, straight up, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? It's not just women that's bad with money. It's men that's bad with money. It's men with bad with connotation. It's men with it's women that can't spell. It's women that's you know what I'm saying? It's women that can't take care of their fucking kids. It's women that can't. It's men that can't do the same thing with their own families too. You know what I'm saying? But, like, we have different reasons and different paths to the same goal, correct?
Right.
Okay. So submissive is not a bad thing. So for folks that's listening, I like to say this. Women, do not feel as though you are sacrificing your independence as a Black woman by the culture of being defensive. Being submissive. And don't get defensive because of it. That's what I was about to say. Black men, you could submit too. You could submit your ass too. Not your ass, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, pause that.
Yeah, pause that. I'm talking about in a heterosexual relationship, okay? Like, let me go ahead and specify that. That shit is absolutely necessary. You know what I'm saying? But because I've offended some people, you know what I'm saying, in the past, in the last 24 hours. So my point is that we have to quit putting myths as definition, you know what I'm saying, for how we see each other. We should be empowering one another, you know what I'm saying? And part of that is making sure that what they communicate matters, you know? So,
right.
You know, I've said before.
Take that shit as serious as they do.
Correct. Like, look, when a Black woman says they don't feel protected, it's because that they don't feel like they're going to be protected if they venture off into negative territory.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they've gone off without our approval. And that's bullshit too. You know what I'm saying?
Even that sentence sound crazy.
It sounds crazy. So here we are trying to rationalize things that should be simple. And look, man, like, if you're listening, we only talking about Black people. I don't give a fuck what white folks do to justify their goddamn situations.
That ain't got nothing to do with me.
I want to pause on that. I need that. I don't give a fuck what white people do to justify their own situations and their own bullshit or whatever. I don't. Let me go ahead and look in the camera. Because the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of times Black people create narratives based on what white people have made popular discussions. And we don't even realize it. I wish I had some shots to fire off.
You gotta get that soundboard.
Yeah, I gotta get that soundboard, bro. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and Andrea says if we don't feel protected, it's because we don't feel valued. And that's Andrea talking, right? And that's true.
Feel protected.
You don't feel,
that.
and I think that's absolutely a two-way street on that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's nothing wrong with what she said, and that's her perspective. You know, like, hey, Drew, bruh, tell me that story that you was telling me the other day. You know what I'm saying? You said you was at work and a girl was out there on the curb with her lip busted up and stuff.
Right.
Man, tell me that story again.
So a lady came in from outside and was like, hey, said it was a guy actually. Said, hey man, there's a young lady outside sitting on the curb right out in front. Looks like her face is bleeding. So I go out there to try to talk to her. And I asked her a couple times, like, are you okay? Do you need some help? You want me to call somebody? She don't say nothing. She just keep crying. So I go back inside and I tell my manager, who's a black female, right, what's going on. She asked me, did you call the police? I said, no. You have to call the police. She was like, well, I'm not calling the police, and if you want to call them, that's on you. So I was like, okay, I left her right there with that. And eventually one of the guy that came in, he ended up calling, and they ended up coming to check on the girl. The cops did.
Okay.
Turns out her old man had beat her up and threw her out the car right there.
That's grimy. And
she walked, you know what I'm saying? She walked. It's a shopping center, but it's like I work in the middle of the hood. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's always something going on outside in the parking lot type. It's damn near the Friday, the Christmas one, when them niggas was working at the security shit. It's damn near a shopping mall like that. Like, it's wild.
It's a strip mall.
And man, right. It goes down, but like
with the top flight.
What? You better be alright out there. So she ended up, the guy beat her up. Okay, her face bleeding. So of course she don't want to talk to me, because if her boyfriend just beat her up, last thing she want to do is talk to another dude.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Another dude can't help her right now.
Okay.
And my whole thing was like, I'm sitting there thinking about it like, yo, black women want to be protected, and we gotta do better with that shit.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the part right here. This is what I'm talking about right here.
We can't say all that, and then I literally watch a black woman not protect another black woman.
That's just grimy, right?
And I know she might be standalone. We probably should throw her away. Yeah. But
we gotta throw her away.
I'm just saying, it's out there.
In that situation right there, we gotta throw away. But just like you said, it's out there. It's largely because some people operate off of that. You know what I'm saying? They feel like, well, did nobody protect me? You know what I'm saying? Or did nobody protect my friend? So I just gotta say that they're gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? That's the way to deal with that. But we know that that's not true. You know. So, and the whole point of us having this discussion is that, you know, like when we know better, we do better, right?
Right.
This is like creating a dialogue to allow new information to change, you know what I'm saying, old existing unproductive opinions, right?
Right.
Because our opinions can do damage. And just because some black women may not protect other black women, that's not an excuse for black men not to protect black women. Do we agree?
Right. Yeah, we can't use that. Like, but somebody saw that and they're gonna use that.
Yep.
Next time they run across something online, like, nah, I was at the store. Y'all ain't even looking out for each other. So like, that's stupid. But somebody's gonna use that just to try to be the contrarian in the room.
Yeah, for what and for what goal?
I just say something against the grain. Like, let me just go. Like, you can't troll everything.
No.
What somebody gonna do?
Okay, so
and you trash, by the way.
You absolute trash. Like, let me see if I got a number from anybody yet, man. Okay, look, I'm about to call Andrea right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just now getting a chance to check the messages, and I'm about to hit her up and see what she got to add. You know, because I don't believe in talking about women without a woman involved. Andrea, I'm calling you right now. Yeah, here we go. Hey, y'all bear with me for a second.
Hello.
Andrea, what's going on? It's Vic.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, not bad. I'm about to put you on three-way with my cousin, all right?
Okay.
Yep. Drew, you there?
Yes, sir.
Andrea, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, am I saying your name right? Is it Andrea or Andrea?
Andrea.
Okay, good. So, you have been actively participating, and I appreciate everything you got to say. Man, you know what? This is the first time I got a chance to put a voice with the words, because you have always been, like very objective. You always present a side of the discussion that needs to be taken into account. I've never seen you comment with anything that's dismissive or nothing that I can't learn from. So it's an honor to be able to talk to you right now and actually, you know what I'm saying, be able to dialogue between you and my cousin. You know what I'm saying? Because these topics are very, very important. I feel as though they are. And I think they're worth, having a good discussion about. So what are your thoughts on the stigma of an independent woman?
Well, first of all, I think there needs to be some clarification in just, the concept. I think there's a difference between a woman who's proclaiming, I don't need a man, and then a woman who's proclaiming to be independent.
Okay.
And I say that because I feel like independence means you can stand independently. You can pay your bills, you can take care of yourself, you can sustain as a whole individual on your own.
So
that doesn't mean that you don't want someone else in your life. It just means that you can sustain. So I think that that's something that's kind of tripped us up a little bit.
Okay, so you're saying that those women that feel the way that you just described aren't out here saying that they need a man, you know what I'm saying, to see their independence, to see their value, right?
Well, no, not necessarily, because I think that, to a certain extent, when you say you're an independent woman, that's really who you are as an individual. It's really not who you are in relation to someone else.
Okay.
So I think you can be an independent woman in a relationship or with a partner. You're just saying that I'm a whole individual as I am. I
agree with that. Okay. Yeah. And it, like again, it shouldn't be a requirement. It shouldn't be a trophy. Rather, it shouldn't be, some sort of certificate or something or diploma.
Right. I agree, but I think that if you think back into years past, maybe 70s, 80s, 90s, there was this big, I don't know what you would call it, but this kind of saying that black women are gold diggers. Black women are out to get you for your money. She's trying to take from you, blah, blah, blah. And so if that's being pushed heavily, then I think that women who are trying to say, look, I've got something to bring to the table, are going to have to proclaim it somehow. And so I think that kind of resulted in the response of women proclaiming they're independent, proclaiming that they can stand up on their own. So it's kind of like it's more in response to what the negatives that they were hearing about other women and saying, I'm not like that. I'm not out for your money. I can take care of myself.
Okay.
And while some women maybe took it to the extreme or whatnot, I don't think that's the majority of women. And I think that, I don't know. I just really think that there's a difference between the independent women and I don't need a man. I think those are two different types of women. But I think that the moment that you say I'm independent, it's automatically taken as I don't need you. I don't want you. And then that, I think, brings up a certain level of defensiveness among men who I think are at your core providers. So if you're at your core somebody who's a provider and somebody says there's nothing you can provide for me, then they're essentially saying what I'm thinking that you're thinking is that you can't provide for me, so there's no value for you in my life, value for me to be in your life.
Okay. I'll say this. Let me speak from a man's perspective. And hey,
Sure.
Drew, you listening?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me tell you what I hear, or what I have seen demonstrated, rather. When I hear I'm an independent woman. When I was dating, like, I instantly heard Boosie playing. INDEPENDENT. You know what I'm saying? All of that. And I'm like, yo, I get it. And whatever you guys got to rally around to feel inspired to be the best version of yourself, I'm all about it. Okay. Like, I got nothing negative to say about that at all. But when it becomes, like glorifying doing basic stuff and then calling that independent, I'm like, welcome to adulthood.
Right.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
right.
People been paying bills, man. People been working 2 jobs and doing whatever the hell they got to do. You know what I'm saying? In order to be an upstanding individual, so they're not a burden on their parents. You don't want to be no adult, regardless of your gender, when you picking up the phone and saying, "Mom, I need $200," right?
Right.
Matter of fact, you want to be in a position to say, "Mommy, do you need $200?"
Right.
And you ain't got to talk about what bills you already paid in order to justify why you want to do something nice for your mom, right? Or your parents, rather.
Right.
So I'm saying, like, I agree with Andrea's perspective in terms of a certain demographic of women that fit the definition of why people were chanting out, you know what I'm saying, that they're independent. I think as an adult and a responsible adult, we don't have to talk about how independent we are.
But why? But just as a question, but why is there offense in it? Like, why do men take offense or get offended by it? I mean, men for years have talked about having good careers, good jobs, or whatnot, and there's never been anybody who said, "Oh, this man is, he's independent. He's taking care of himself. He's talking about stuff he's supposed to do."
Yeah.
But if a woman does it, so I'm just trying to understand why there's an offense to it. Like, I personally, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't tell people about nothing I have, earned, degrees, nothing, because guess what? I don't want to contribute to anybody else. And I guess that's another topic.
That's
you're not going to hear
absolutely
what's in my bank account.
Correct.
But, I'm just wondering why there's offense or an issue with it, unless it's coming from a place of feeling unneeded when you hear it.
I think it's completely unfair for women to be challenged. You know what I'm saying? As though that independence should be a transparent thing. It should be a very specific thing. Do we agree on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If all of us got a job, I think that's the limitations of what constitutes independence. Do you work, and what do you do, and leave it at that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to know if you pay your own bills. I don't care. Not at the beginning stage of getting to know each other. You know what I'm saying? Do we agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So on one hand, I see people throwing it out there very loosely, and on the other hand, I see people asking the question very loosely. Every question ain't necessary.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we don't have to dabble in certain commentary if the question isn't asked. So we got to be careful about when we ask these questions, and we got to be careful of the language that we use. Words matter.
That's true. But also another thing to think about is people talk and communicate with us from wherever they're at, from their, the sum total of everything they've experienced. And so, not that you got to hear everybody's backstory, but if somebody came from a family where their mother had to sleep with 3 and 4 men to keep the lights on, or they grew up, extremely poor, or just in other situations, sometimes celebrating that, even though it may come across as a negative, they're standing up and saying, like, look, I can take care of me. I broke that generational curse of being a dependent woman that couldn't provide for myself or my children or whatever. So, I don't think that, I think we have to be a little more patient with each other.
Yep.
Everything that's said isn't necessarily said to antagonize or to make someone think that you're superior to them or whatnot. Sometimes things are just coming from a place of who they are. It's showing what they've overcome or what they've done. And then just to speak on the point, you had mentioned the woman about college. Now, who is, she wouldn't date you because of the college degree. Now, I think that's silly. However, without knowing her story, she may have dated a man that didn't have a degree and he treated her some kind of way. Because I will tell you that sometimes you deal with weaker people, not calling black men weak, but you deal with weaker people in general who get intimidated by superficial things like degrees or jobs or cars or whatever. And if they're not where you're at, even though you might be willing to say, hey, let's do this together, they will try to tear you down emotionally and spiritually to bring you down to where they feel that they are in comparison to you. So I like I said, I think that's silly, but you just gotta see where people are coming from. It's not always a negative place.
Okay.
It may be a misunderstood place, but not always a negative place.
Okay. I can agree with all of that. It's I think you've been pretty objective, over a span of time. So I don't have any issues with any of your opinions, and I do think that it comes from a place of insecurity more than anything. When you haven't been fulfilled in certain areas of your life, you can only speak from those deficits, right?
Right.
Because that's what you desire, and with that being said, we have to leave room to say, you know what? I'm creating too many different requirements, for this particular individual, So, I think you just got to use discretion, and when it comes down to that. Do we agree?
I agree.
Yeah, and like I said, man, you've always been spot on, And matter of fact, on my next topic, do we feel like we beat that horse dead? Do we need to kick it again?
Yeah, no, I think we're cool on that one.
I think we're good, yeah.
Okay, you think all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna keep you on here for a second then, because I like to have a man and a woman's perspective on multiple topics. So the next topic is that all black men cheat. Now, let the men speak first on this one. Just hold the phone for a second. Okay. Number one, all black men don't cheat. I think we all can agree on that. And we don't cheat for a lot of the reasons that black women don't cheat. We don't have time or the energy. Like straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like after a certain age, and I think it's a maturity driven thing. After we reach that certain point, we don't have the commitment to it, that is popular to discuss in Hollywood and on film or whatever, right?
Right.
I remember my partner told me one time, and I didn't understand it. I might have been 25, 26. I probably was 27. Somewhere between 26 and 27. He said, I'm at a point in my life where I want to be around my homeboys more than I want to, be interested in meeting a different woman. And at first I was like, I didn't know how to process that because at the space that I was in, like while I was single and stuff, I needed to meet every woman. You know what I'm saying? Every woman that reciprocated my conversation, you know. But then as I got a little bit older, more mature, my experiences, you know what I'm saying, kind of you know what I'm saying, compiled on one another. You know what I'm saying? And I became instantly done. Like it was just not the thing to be, you know what I'm saying? Like where I was in life, right? And I understood what he was saying. I was like, yo, that wasn't supposed to hit me like that, you know? I was like, it wasn't woman dependent completely. You like, it wasn't like I needed to be with a woman or else I wasn't doing anything. You know what I'm saying? I had other activities, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was lifting weights or riding bikes, you know, I cared more about those things that improved myself at one point. I didn't need to go get another woman to validate myself. And at one point I absolutely was, you know what I'm saying? But it took me progressing to this point where I can look back at where I was and what I did to create the present view of my past self, that I can look at that, you know what I'm saying, and say, you know what, I was missing some pieces, you know, and that's fine. That shows growth. But I can get why some Black women can relegate themselves to the opinion that Black men cheat, and it's in them to do so. You know what I'm saying? And it's number one, it's not the worst thing that can happen to you. You know, that's my opinion on that. You know, like you can get killed, beat up, or whatever. Yeah. Some dudes just cheat on you. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Right. But like you can get your ass beat. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get fucked up out here and be on the news and never see the headline. And it's not a good thing either. So, Drew, what's your opinion on that thing? On that's a myth too, that Black men cheat.
Right. Why does it? My first thing is, why do we have to start with Black men as like these other race of men? They just all at home reading the Bible or whatnot.
Hey, and the Bible condone it to some degree.
Right. So yeah, but don't see, they just skip over that part when they go back to the Bible for relationship advice. But
okay.
I'm not gonna start that argument. but you know what I'm saying? Like that's like, are y'all just saying men in general cheat? Do we just say Black men because that's all you're dating is Black men? So you just know for a fact that Black men cheat, like you haven't experimented with any other races.
That's okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But see, the whole thing is because cheat is a catch-all. Because when you start talking about cheating, you're getting to different levels of cheating.
Yep.
Like, flirting is cheating. Intimate secrets is cheating. Like it's a whole list of cheating before you get down to the cheating part. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a text message is cheating. Like it ain't no, like when men think cheating, we think sex.
Okay. Well, let me hit you with this. My friend Kress just said we ain't focused on any other race. She said she don't date nothing but Black men. So we're gonna leave it at that. All right.
Okay, cool. So that's how we roll.
Yep.
I'm with that.
Okay.
So we know for a fact that it's just Black men, that this is the only pool we're talking about.
Yep.
So what is cheating?
Hey.
Now that ought to get some, yeah. The comments ought to blow up right now. What is cheating? How about that?
Oh, man.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, man, you ain't.
If I can chime.
Andrea, you got the floor. Andrea. Go ahead.
All right. So my idea of what cheating is breaking the understood agreement of the relationship. So if it's understood that we're together and we're not having sex with someone else, we're not trying to solicit to get additional sex from someone else, we're not spending money on nobody else outside of our family, we're not sending inappropriate messages, we're not on dating sites, we're not grinding up on nobody, we're not letting anybody give us oral. Those are all things that I think are understood would constitute cheating.
Okay.
You gotta respect that list.
Yeah, that list ain't that's not a bad list. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
Not mad at that at all.
But I will say that a big key to that is what is understood. And I think that's how sometimes maybe we get into this idea that all black men cheat. I think because a lot of times we go into situations not clearly defining what our relationship is and what the expectations are for whatever reason.
That makes sense.
So if you go in and you know, some people may feel like, okay, we had sex, so we're together now. You're not having sex with nobody else. But unless that conversation is had, then how can you just assume that? And so I think that falls on both men and women to be clear what their expectations are in a relationship, what they're looking for, and what they're willing to contribute to the relationship and to that commitment.
So we're talking about expectation management. Expectation management.
Exactly. I think that's a big part of this. I think if you get that, you'll probably clear up a lot of the misunderstanding about what is cheating and what's not cheating. And I think that in our dating situations, you know, marriage I think is pretty clear. But I think in our dating situations, sometimes there's a little bit of game playing, maybe on men and women. So I'm not going to just put that all on men. But I think that people may have a vision of who you will be in the future. Mm-hmm. And so they'll try to hold you where you are in your good place with them when they know that they're not right for you right now. So they'll tell you what you want to hear and play the game with you, knowing that when they get right, you'll be the right person for them. And I think that's unfair and selfish. So I think that people need to, you know, kind of be more upfront on that. And then lastly, I would say that I think in relationships, we as Black people need to change the way we date. And the only reason I'm saying all these things, even though the topic is all Black men cheat, is because I feel that this is all about managing expectations. I think that a lot of times there's this assumption that if you as a woman date this guy, then that's the only man that you're going to date. Because I've been hard pressed to find a Black male that you can say, okay, I'm dating you and I'm sleeping with you, but I'm also going to date him and sleep with him. Mm-hmm. Usually that's a no-no, it's a taboo. However, he may be doing it, but he doesn't want her doing it. And so if that's the unagreed upon expectation, she's going to be in her feelings if he's still out there talking to other people, because she's not. So it's going to be deemed as cheating. So again, this is just all about just managing expectations, you know, how we date each other, how we handle our business communication. There's a lot of issues that go into it. But yeah, I definitely think that myth is more about miscommunication than anything else. And also about maturity, as you said. I think when you're younger, you know, people are going to be a little bit different than when they're older. Oh, but just to clarify one other point, I think you guys had mentioned something about in the Bible it was okay. Mm-hmm. Actually, no. That's why you had adultery. And it was, and if they were going to take another wife, I believe they had to clear it with their other wife. Okay. But I'm sure somebody who really reads the Bible can.
Yeah. I can understand the details of what you're saying. I think I was talking about a general spectrum. When they talk about Ramses, father of the nation, they want to talk about him being the president.
Right.
Anybody want to disagree with that?
No.
Okay. All right. Cool. So, Andrea, that was a great. I'm pretty excited that you were able to contribute. I like to reach out to you further. You know what I'm saying, on other topics as they become available to me. And anytime that I have a topic that I like to have a woman's input on, because nothing's worse than a man talking about what women, you know what I'm saying, want without a woman involved. I think it's kind of grimy, you know.
It's a little arrogant too.
It's a little arrogant. It's a little arrogant. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to be able to reach out to you, but I'll let you know in advance.
Okay.
Okay. So I appreciate having you, and we're about to move on to the next topic. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have something to say about this too.
Well, actually, I was gonna hang up just because, and maybe let you get somebody else on about this because
yeah,
I agree with I disagree with that and really don't have too many debate points on that. So
okay, yeah, it's cool. Like the thing is that what we're about to discuss dealing with college education is that we're speaking from, you know what I'm saying, a certain geography, you know, it's from a certain point of reinforcement. And I do think that geography is dependent upon a lot of our situations, you know what I'm saying, and decisions that we make within those things. So just leave room to have your opinion change.
right.
Okay, so I appreciate you being available, and we'll talk in the future.
All right, sounds good. Bye.
All right, talk to you later. Drew, you there?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm about to call Terry Lawson because I put him on the docket, and I like to hear his entrepreneur spirit, you know what I'm saying, speak. So I'm hitting him up right now.
Hello?
Hey, Terry, what's good, bro?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man. Hey, it's been too long since we last spoke, last saw each other, and everything else.
These are all facts.
all facts, man. Hey, I got my cousin on the three-way. I know you've been dialed in already. You know what I'm saying? So you might have heard him already. Right. But he lived up in Brown Springs.
What up, man? Good with you.
Yeah. Hey, Drew, Terry lived off of 78 Place, and he ain't lived too far from us. You know what I'm saying? You remember when Sid got bit on his ass by his dog?
Yeah. Man.
Hey, Terry.
I was thinking about that a little while ago. Man, I felt so bad, man. 'Cause I was thinking, like, man, I don't know what I would say to someone. Like, I just imagine how my parents felt, because I don't know what I would say to somebody's parent and my dog did.
Yeah.
My dog did her child. It wasn't their fault. They weren't even at the house.
Mm-hmm.
It happened, but still, man, my bad, Sid.
Hey, Drew. Let me give you context. You know what I'm saying? Because I know Terry. Let me give you some context, right? So because Terry feel bad because we haven't had a vocal adult conversation about it, and Terry still ain't spoke to Sid about it, but Sid straight. And I laugh at Sid about it. You know what I'm saying? Because he survived it. The only shit that's funny is the shit that you survive anyway, right? So, so Drew, let me paint the picture, right? So Terry got a house, and he lived up on the hill. He was the only people that we could shoot basketball with, and that actually cared about winning. You know what I'm saying? Some other folks that just throw the ball up towards the goal and shit. You know, so he had a dog named Hannibal. Hannibal was half Rottweiler, half Chow Chow. So he was on 10 all the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That should have been against the law for them to even blend them.
Yeah, them dogs should never been together. So he had all Rottweiler in the face, in the body type, and all that stuff. He just had long hair like a Chow Chow.
Oh, hell, like in a black car.
Yeah, straight up. That's it. So he had a.
He looked just like a Rottweiler.
Yeah, he looked like a long hair Rottweiler. There ain't nothing else to look at. So, and then his name was Hannibal. You know what I'm saying?
I'm cool.
So when we hoop, right, the ball might go down the hill and it go too far to one side or whatever, right? If it go too far to one side, somebody call the ball and Terry go get it because that's his dog. Ain't nobody finna get their ass ate off by that animal. You know what I'm saying? And so said who had been starving for a rebound had chased the ball and went down the hill, but the chain went further than what said was. You know what I'm saying? So said came up the hill like, I got the ball, and then he got his ass bit off. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much.
Yeah, man, I still feel bad about that to this day, man. I really do, man. Because like I said, as a child, you'd be like, whatever. But like, you know, as you get older, I was like, man, that could have went so many other directions, man.
They could have went so many different directions, man. Yeah. But we ain't here to talk about that today. I'm just here to, you know what I'm saying, like, go ahead and bring that as an icebreaker, man, because that's important. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny as hell.
It's just hilarious. So both of y'all been to college. Everybody on here been to college. Okay.
Right.
We done all did some education, got degrees and all that shit, right? Like, so let me show of hands or sound of voices, rather. How many people on here on this chat are doing what they went to school for? Okay. All right. I'm gonna use laughter as confirmation that we're not.
All right.
So, do we all remember the push for going to going to college? Because I remember Calvin from the hood on the McDonald's commercials. You know what I'm saying? McDonald's gonna pay for your education. You know what I'm saying? I remember to be all you could be. You know what I'm saying? I remember all of that shit, right? And all I did was create competition for folks that had an associate's degree that led to a bachelor's degree that created competition for a master's degree, right? And a doctorate shortly after, right? So what you got now is a lot of overeducated people in saturated fields. Do we disagree with that?
Right.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. All right, cool.
I mean, no, we don't do. I'm sorry. I agree 100%.
Okay, yeah, we all agree. We all agree. So the point that we are at now is that if you can't create something, you can't make any money.
Right.
Because you're not gonna get rich working for somebody. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's cool that this is the first time I talked to Terry, because the other day I called him, but he was busy. And you know what I'm saying? He didn't get back to me, but I ain't hold it against him because I understand, man, everybody's life moving a million miles a minute, you know? Right. But I knew we was going to talk when we needed to talk. So here we are at this point in our lives where we graduated high school in the late 90s. Me and Terry graduated in 97. Drew, you graduated what time? When you graduated? 99. So you 2 years. So we're in the same era, you know? Pretty much.
Same age bracket.
Correct. Here we are, and everybody's still running off to school. What kind of results are we getting out of that? Drew, talk about you.
Yeah. That is the result we get out of that. Well, you beat me to the punch.
So for folks that didn't get it, debt. We owe some folks some bread.
Yes, yeah. Oh. Yeah, I mean, before you go forward, let me say this to you. I remember the day that I was getting ready to go out of school. And my father, man, who was a military guy, got out of the military and, became a postman or whatever.
Hey, your pops had never smiled either. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. My pops got a beautiful smile too. He just don't ever use.
He was hard as an open loaf of bread, bro.
Right.
Triple OG.
But the one thing he told me, that I know, it's parents tell you a lot of stuff. Those few things that you hear, they kind of stick out. The one thing.
What is that?
He told me. I don't know. That's like killer, bro. Oh, okay. But the one thing he told me when I was getting ready to go off to school, he was like, man, I just want you to know, going off here don't guarantee you one thing. I said, what's that? Guarantee you that you're going to start your life off in debt. Like, get out of it what you're supposed to get. But understand that.
So he ain't tell you nothing.
That's the only conversation him and I had about school.
bruh, like, hey man, look, hey, I'm gonna do another segment in the future, you know what I'm saying, conversations with our fathers, man, you know what I'm saying, because I want to talk about, because like I guarantee you, like all of us got a universal, you know what I'm saying, connection with one another, you know, and it's based on things that our fathers have said to us individually, but they was all on the same sheet of music. But not to get off on a tangent, but go ahead on, Drew. What you got to add to that?
Yeah, just that was the most important thing I got from it. Like that was the biggest thing. Like I'm gonna be dealing with that for a minute. Like that money could have bought a house. I could have started a business with that money. I could have done a whole lot of things with that money, other than let it build interest for somebody else. Like,
ain't that some shit, right?
Like what,
bruh?
I'm building crazy interest for somebody else right now because that's what I was supposed.
I wish I had the shots in the dance hall siren right now.
Like, because it's overwhelming. Like I'm probably 140 in the hole.
Man, that's garbage, bro.
At least. You know what I can do with 140 right now?
And you could have a house to the hip. You know what I'm saying? Without no mortgage.
Let's not forget books.
Yeah.
All of that money, man, just gone.
Well, I'll tell my experience in terms of if I hadn't joined the military, I wouldn't even be thinking about going to college. Like even when I started off, I went to a JUCO first and I paid out of pocket. But after I joined the military, it was dead. You know what I'm saying? Like everything was paid for. And I resisted the idea of going to the military because of aunts, uncles, and everybody else that had that Vietnam experience. You know what I'm saying? With the draft and everything else, right? So when I joined, it was like, oh, you joining that white man's army? That type of rhetoric, right? But I'm like, you paying these white folks taxes, you know what I'm saying? And then I had to duck a left and a right, you know what I'm saying? To because like FICA don't give a fuck what your race is. Every time. So these are all our familial experience, you know what I'm saying? Like coming from our parents, folks that we respect within our family. You know, so what's been your experience since then when you realized that college wasn't, you know what I'm saying, as important or detrimental as it was made out to be before we, you know what I'm saying, transition to college right after high school graduation? Terry, what you want to add to that?
Well, for me, as I got older and, I you begin to go into, different employment situations or whatever it may be. And the thing that you come to find out for the most part is that, man, I went to college, this girl didn't. We make the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We make the same thing. We have the same skills, with the same job security in the same area. You know, with the same potential to become managers, the same potential to become whatever it may be, we're the same person.
Right.
So why did I spend all that money in college?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing about it, the one thing about college is generally if you got a degree or whatever, you go for particular jobs, it kind of guarantees that you'll get the job. But I mean, what's the difference between that and the person that's got, 5, 6, 7 years of the skill set of doing that same job that you have?
Man, look, and that's why I feel like I can add value to that particular topic, right? So, my friend Natasha Hertzberger, who was one of my Army buddies, you know what I'm saying, that has been A1 since day one for me, as said, it depends on what you want to do. I do feel like, there's absolute fields out there where you absolutely have to go to college,
You have to go to college,
Yeah, like if you're going to be an engineer, a doctor or something like that, a psychiatrist,
If you want to be an engineer, doctor, lawyer, accountant,
I need you to go to college.
If you're working in the education system, I need you to be college educated.
I need you to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up.
That's about it, though.
Yeah, that's it.
That's really about it.
That's my limit.
That goes for even being the president of the United States. President of the United States don't need to have a college degree.
Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a college degree to be humane. Now you need to be able to interpret, you know what I'm saying, who you want to have in your cabinet that's going to be able to help you, apply constitutional law. But what I'm saying is, like, you got to have a baseline of what's logical and what's not, and what's humane and what's not.
Exactly.
You got to be able to at least read.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can read. You got to be able to have, reading comprehensive skills. You got to be personal. You got to be. You got to be able to add, and understand the national deficit and all the different things of that nature. And you've got to be able to mingle in international settings.
Yeah.
Other than that, the people around you are the ones that need to have to be college educated.
Yeah, because you're gonna be because you're gonna be judged by the folks that you hired to work in your cabinet anyway.
Exactly.
Okay, so
like I used to always hear Charles Barkley say, man, it was a running joke I would hear Ernest Johnson say to Charles Barkley. Everybody knows Charles went to Auburn. Charles didn't graduate college, basketball.
Yeah.
And he said. They would always say, well, Charles, man, did you ever graduate from Auburn? And Charles would say, no, but a lot of people that work for me did.
Yep. Hey, I heard 50 Cent take that same line from Charles Barkley and say, hey, you didn't go to Harvard. Hey, but a lot of people that work for me did.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you.
So it's not, man, being able to be a successful person in life really doesn't require college education. I want y'all to think about, man, the movers and shakers of the last 40, 50 years in the world. Your Steve Jobs, your Bill Gates, your Paul Allen, your Kanye West. These are all college dropouts.
They all their documentaries start with, and then when he dropped out of college.
And when I dropped out of college,
yeah.
he did this.
Yeah, but do you think that there's a stigma from folks that are college educated that think that you have to finish college to have equity in the Black community?
I think that there's a lot of shaming.
Okay.
That happens within the community. That it wasn't a thing previously. It was a thing where growing up, when our parents or their parents were coming up. Men really didn't go to college. Women went to college. Men went and got jobs and went to the military.
Right. I agree with that. As time went on, then you got both men and women going to college. And I think it became somewhat of not a caste system thing, but if you didn't go to college, then you weren't achieving. As some people will say, you know what I mean? Okay.
But the thing that college is supposed to do for you is to kind of give you direction as to what you want to do with the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. It's supposed.
That doesn't mean it's supposed to, but that don't mean that a degree is in your future.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
You might figure that out before 4 years.
Figure that out while you're there and be like, you know what? I'm not going to waste any more of my time or money doing it.
I can agree with that too.
I know what I want to do.
Right, because
I know what I want to do.
I do think that our generation of college attendees and high school graduates is more fluid in terms of accepting, change. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't difficult for our generation, except that the stuff that our parents told us wasn't absolutely accurate. Can we agree on that? But I agree 100%. Yeah, but
there was big emphasis put on, when we were coming up, getting into the field and learning about computers and technology because, that's the way that the world is going and this, that, and the other. So that became oversaturated. Now, man, no, if you're a good mechanic, you could be a millionaire.
Straight up. Period. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like the trade business is so wide open right now that if you can go to school and become an HVAC or something of that nature, then you can literally make 6 figures and have a very comfortable living. Man,
look, I can tell you about my personal experience with 6 figures, and it kind of speaks to a larger point, you know. So Terry, Drew, would you guys agree that between 97 and 99, 6 figures was like a largely unobtainable type of financial status without a degree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we all agree on that then. All right. What if I told you I went from making $60,000 a year in 2013 to making 176 in the same year after I got out the military, and I still hadn't completed my degree yet, and I was working for somebody.
Right.
Okay. So progressive behavior in terms of jobs, experience, and balancing that with education, at some point, people are going to value experience more than education, correct?
Right.
Okay, so which brings us to the point where we are right now. You know what I'm saying? Socially. Like, we're not saying that college is unimportant. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. What we're saying is it shouldn't be a refuge for you trying to figure out what the fuck you want to do and then accumulate a whole bunch of debt. It should be the first option.
Not only a refuge, you should take no guarantees from going to college.
That's important to say too.
That's the first thing that a person needs to relate to their child before they get ready to go to school. And my dad told me his delivery was a little crack. You know?
Hey, if he was born before 62, his delivery was trash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a lot of truth in that. And I think if he had just been like, you know, son, I just want you to understand, you know, before you go to school, this is bad. That should be, you should understand that you're going to be in debt when you start off life. And that school is not going to be guaranteed. So, man, you need to really make the most of it. Try to get in here, figure out what you're going to do, what you're going to do that's going to make you happy and make you the most money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people go to school for things that they're not happy and they're not fulfilled in that hour.
He wants you to get paid off your passion. That's what he wanted you to do.
Right. You're paid off of your passion. And you can create, let me tell y'all something, people. And this isn't a slight, this is actually old for white people. White people create jobs for themselves every single day.
True.
Every single day.
I've seen it.
They can create a job.
Absolutely.
The show Jackass.
Yes.
The show Jackass was a bunch of white boys running around, man, jumping off goddamn buildings and eating cow shit and all this other stuff, man. And they made millions.
Bruh.
For doing stupid. They created a job.
Hey, ridiculousness. MTV.
Ridiculous amounts of money. Ridiculous. You understand? White people can create a job. I saw this white guy, man, he lost his job. And what he did, man, this shit is pretty genius. Beyond how stupid it is, this pretty genius. This guy, man, took this little girl, she needed a pencil. She needed a pencil sharp. And she couldn't sharpen the pencil. And he took his, like, box cutter. And he sharpened her pencil for her in a particular way. And he told her that this style of pencil sharpening is just for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the next time, you're going to have to pay me for it. Somebody came to him and said, man, can you sharpen mine a particular way? I'll pay you $20.
What?
He sharpened the pencil a particular way. This motherfucker became a professional pencil sharpener. Charging people $50, $60 a box of pencils. You know what I mean? $100 a box of pencils for a particular way to sharpen your pencil, man. You tell me that's not good. People, if you want a
It's true. Hey,
Wow.
hey, bro, I ain't taking nothing away from that at all.
I ain't either. I'm not either. That's
Yeah.
just to go to show you, man, that if you want to create something in this world, man, if you doing something and you're not fulfilled with that, man, go do something else.
Straight up.
Do something else. Say it's a specialty, and man, and bet on yourself. You
Bet-
know what I'm saying?
Boy.
Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself, man. Hey, yo.
And make it
Hey,
happen.
Drew, we were talking about Le'Veon Bell, wasn't it?
Yep.
Oh,
That's what
man.
I'm saying.
Like,
That's what I'm saying.
bet on yourself, man.
Sometimes you just gotta go do what you want to do.
Sometimes you gotta do what you want to do.
Right.
Sometimes sometimes you just gotta roll the dice on your. Sometimes you gotta play this. You scared money don't make money.
True enough.
And sometimes, man, you just gotta roll the dice, man. Go all in on the table and roll the dice.
So,
And say, fuck it.
all right. So,
Because one thing I know about life, man, you can have it all, you can lose it all.
yeah.
But
Hey,
as long as you're still living, you can get it all back.
You can get it back.
hey, man, I work with some old heads, man, that a lot of them got like late veteran issues, you know what I'm saying, with their own health. Now, the issues they got aren't different from people that haven't served, but for those that have served, they are pretty, you know what I'm saying, like easily compensated issues, right? And so you hit a point when you said you got to be doing what you want to do in order to get paid for it, because a lot of these guys that aren't doing it, the minute that something happens to them that changes their income and how it's dispersed, they are without significantly, right? So if they had created that one passive income that would become popular later for fear of being negatively judged, they would be better off. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to sell, you know what I'm saying, specifically sharpened pencils. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy as hell. You know what I'm saying? But it's absolutely true. And I think technology creates those windows, because there's a lot of people that went to school for something that's, you know what I'm saying, done by app now.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And the people that went to
Right,
school for it don't get paid for it.
Don't get paid for it.
So,
and like I said, it's not. No, we're not here to diminish.
no, yeah, like, please say that.
Any
That's why.
shape, form, or fashion, man, because we're all educated.
Yep, that's why I called you.
Here speaking on this, we're all educated.
And that's exactly why I called you.
But it's all a formality, and people struggle with degrees
Mm-hmm.
every day. If you're like not a doctor, if you're not in the medicine field, if you're not in law, if you're not, you know, in education,
Microbiology, engineering, and some shit like that.
Chemistry. Just weigh your options.
Yeah.
Weigh your options
Before you pull the trigger on that.
Hey, man,
Pull
look.
the trigger on that $200,000 that you're gonna be paying for the rest of your life.
Yeah, straight up. Hey, man, look, I got a quote that I had posted on my own Facebook. I said, sleepers wake up to fulfill the dreams of people that they work for. Don't sleep. Don't sleep was the hashtag.
Right.
And I felt like it was important enough to wear it. You know what I'm saying? And somewhere, somebody is getting paid for doing the same thing.
Right.
They done made what it costs for somebody else to go to school for. You know?
Right.
And that's crazy. They made what it costs for them to go to school and somebody else. So
Yeah.
I think that when we start talking about the equity of degrees in relationships to the Black community and how we see one another, we have to take this conversation as an attempt to say, hey, yo, I'm trying to bring financial levity to the situation.
Right.
Because everything that we do pivots. Hold up. Everything that we do pivots off of us. Like, desiring somebody else that makes us better. If we're not already with somebody. Do we disagree with that?
No.
Okay. All right.
But the main, like I said, the main thing though, man, be cognizant of that. What your options? Don't be ashamed to get a trade. The trade field is, man, like I said, you can make 6 figures man doing a trade right now. Nobody does it.
Bro, I seen it.
Nobody does it.
Man, I was working in Afghanistan. There was a dude making $180K. He was making more than I did at the time, working on air conditioners. And only because he was HVAC certified that he was willing to go over there. He made a little bit more money than I did, but because of the quantity of work, you know what I'm saying, and the demand, he could demand his own salary. And he ain't went nowhere. This man making $225 working on ACs.
Jeez.
Yeah, like go ahead, change your draws.
I'm telling you, yeah, man. Bro, HVACs, I'm telling you, man. Yeah. Learn how to work on a car that everybody else can't work on. Learn how to fix a Range Rover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't be out here working on Impalas all your life.
Audi, right, man. I can work on the Impala.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Go learn how to fix an Audi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you brand yourself. Because you can still brand yourself, even though when you work in the trade field, you're still it's like an entrepreneurial skill. You don't have to work for anyone to do that. You can pick up that trade and you can start your own business and doing it.
Right.
But see, that's where education failed us again. Education, the whole structure of school and education, well, one, they want to know that you know how not to act a fool, you know, in a setting. But it's true. You go into a class, you sit there for a while. To the bell rings, you go to the next class. You do what you're told. You get up, you eat when you're told to eat. You go to this when you're told to do this. You go do this when you're told to do that. Everything is structured. It's all. There's no individual. No individual. That's when I remember when they started making us wear school uniforms and stuff. That was the outcry for that was like, man, now y'all are teaching us how to become prisoners or become factory workers or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You know, they're not teaching you entrepreneurial skills. That's stuff that you have to learn on your own, or your parents have to be, you know, cognizant enough of it to teach you how you do it yourself. Go through special study courses throughout the summer, you know, a UAB or wherever it may be, the Mike program in Tennessee State. See, that's the kind of stuff my parents did for me. You know, but everybody don't have that luxury. And so that's why I feel, remember I was saying, making the statement that the entire education system needs to be revamped from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Man, I cannot tell you anything that I learned in biology class that was useful for me the moment that they bell rung and I stepped out of that room.
Right. Not one thing. Like
Not a single thing.
nothing that we learned about college. Learned in college based on the course that we had to study made me be able to cross the street better.
Exactly.
I wasn't a better driver because of the stuff I learned in college.
No.
But I'm gonna tell you what I did. Let me tell you what I did. Hey, let me tell you what I did learn in college. So, I learned that you don't have to stay there. And just because you made a mistake doesn't mean you have to keep it.
Right.
Ooh.
Don't be afraid to walk away.
Hey, what are shots at? Like I need the shot. Hey, everybody make some shots right now. I ain't got no shots.
Right.
So like I took what I learned for my my particular profession at the time and what my responsibilities were. Like I was responsible for writing a lot of intelligence information papers, right? So I was arming people to go testify to Congress about what was going on in a particular area of heightened national security. I'm trying to sanitize this conversation as much as I can. But I took that same skill and I learned how to write my own books. You see what I'm saying? Like, you only learn a skill that benefits somebody else in a lot of cases. But if you don't translate that skill into something that you want to do, then is it really a skill?
Right.
Like, a skill should be something associated with that makes your family bloodline better, right? Creates a niche that you can pass on to people that look like you, right? Because at this stage in our Black lives, family isn't limited to last name. Do we agree or disagree?
100.
No, I agree 100%.
Okay. I just want to make sure we was on the same sheet of music.
When I had my site created, Kresskala K Ro for my speaker business, man, the main reason I did so was family. And it was something that I heard Dame Dash. Now, Dame is a fool, true enough, but Dame is a smart, Dame is a genius. But like you said, man, like you do things for your family, for your children. And you can have this, you can have this, you work a job. But man, can you give your son a job if he needs one when he turns 16, 17, 18 years old?
Mm-hmm. Man, that's
and
important.
If you start your own business, he'll always have a job. He may not want to do it.
Yeah.
He may want to go do his own thing.
But the option is there. But you got an option to give him. Mm-hmm.
Right. The option is always there, son. You have your own. You have a job. You have a business. If you choose to pursue this business, it is yours. You build it. If you don't, you go out to do something else, you can. But this is still, you got this in the back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, and the thing that a lot of people, our jobs are kind of like the thing that keeps us like, I don't want to say clammed up, but, not as outspoken. If you have a job, there's certain things you can't say, you can't do, you can't believe in. Because, man, you have the potential to lose that job. But financial freedom goes well beyond finance in regards to freedom.
That's very important.
Freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of everything. When you own your own, nobody owns you. So they
Straight
can
up.
own what you say and the things you do.
Yep. I agree with that too. Because once you create the corporation pays the individual. It's not you trying to pay that person. You creating that space where that person can work for somebody that's valid, that creates a tax return for them, so they can see what they work for.
Right.
Okay.
100%.
Man, look, I think we beat this topic pretty good.
Yeah, man, we delved in this pretty well.
Because I like the fact that we got working men talking right now. You know what I'm saying? And most of us aren't functioning in the realm of our degrees, but that doesn't mean that we diminish the importance of the degree, right?
Right.
Okay. Because I felt like that was very important.
Like I said, a degree is also, and like I said, not to diminish it, a degree is like it's like a certificate of finality. It lets you know that, man, if you put your head into something, then you can achieve it if you apply yourself. Now, it may cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't want to diminish the importance or the finality of what a degree provides for you. You know what I mean? And a lot of times when companies look at that, that's what they're looking at, that you can work towards the goal and actually achieve.
Okay.
So I don't want to diminish that in that aspect. But as far as its usage and how it's supposed to help you make a whole bunch of money and this is that and the other, no, and only in certain fields is that the case.
Correct. Yeah, like
only in certain fields.
Especially if you're not trying to create a practice or something like that, then that's when you're gonna run into some issues.
Right.
Yeah. Hey man, Terry, we gotta chop it up offline sometime, and we need to catch up. You know what I'm saying? Like I see your sister doing good. I'm gonna hit Erica up one time and get her input on some of these topics because I know she got something to say.
Yeah, do that, man.
Yeah, you know.
And I never did get to tell you personally, man, with my condolences.
Hey, bro, I
appreciate. Man, he used to shoot balls in that backyard. He was the first dude I ever saw, man, that can just pull up with either hand.
Either hand. Either hand.
Pull up with either hand. You made me start doing it.
Hey, don't nobody know what ambidextrous mean until they met my daddy.
Right.
Straight up.
I'm telling you, pull up with either hand. In the middle of a drive, stop to a hot bam, left hand.
Hey.
Pull up 18, right hand, bam. I was like,
hey, that's how folks know. That's how folks know you know my daddy right there. If you know he was ambidextrous, you was round.
Right.
Yeah. So, hey, Terry, I don't want to hold you too much, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure I reach out to you before I get ready to go live in advance, because like I know some topics that you probably set fire to. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know, we always been some controversial dudes from the get go. You know, so you know, I just want to set a dialogue so when we can understand something, create a space for new information to change our minds, because like we don't know everything, right?
Right. No, I wouldn't sit here and act like I did.
Yeah.
I know a little about a lot, but I don't know it all.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, I ain't gonna hold you up, man. But I appreciate you being available.
I appreciate you having me, man. Good to meet you, bro.
Yeah, hey.
All right, man. Same to you, bro.
All
right. Let's see what we got here. Hang on. Ooh-wee. Hey, Drew, you there?
Yeah.
Hey, man, look. This is the next topic. Let's discuss this between me and you. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. It's topic number 4. Black women are the blame for gay men. Let me go ahead and reiterate that this whole docket is dedicated towards myths, okay, that impact the Black community. All right, so I don't think Black women, I think both Black women and Black men may contribute in less of a percentage that contributes to Black men. And here's why. Because like when you compile like what equity Black women and Black men have in the abuse of certain Black men that attribute their reason for being gay associated with their abuse as a child, Black men and Black women got equity in that. I don't know that number specifically. And I think it's very subjective. You know what I'm saying? Do we agree or disagree on that?
We agree on that.
Okay. All right. So in that regard, I don't have a whole lot to add to that. That's just the topic. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen where Black women say, you know what I'm saying, that this is an issue. I haven't seen it in my circles. Have you seen it in yours?
No.
Well, that's a pretty short answer.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Okay.
I want to know where that came from.
That's a good ass question. Where did it come from? But I'll be willing to argue, if I had to make an assessment, that it came from Black men. So if you will, I'm going to go ahead and add my friend, you know what I'm saying, to the discussion.
Right?
Yeah, we got to blame somebody, right? Hey, let me add my friend to it, all right? Oh, shit. I got old Kresskala K Ro. She may or may not be available. If she's not, that's not a bad thing.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice
Yeah,
message
I'll see
system.
it, goddamn.
33737839191 is not.
Yo, she ain't available right now.
Okay.
Hey, no big deal.
Yeah, I really want to know, how do we get to it being Black women's fault that guys are gay?
Okay, I'll tell you what, man. Like, let's just come back to this topic because we don't want to say that. We got to come back and rehash. All right,
Right.
man. Look, the next one may hit home for a few people. So number 4 is I'm sorry. Number 5, daddy issues aren't limited to women. And what I wanted to write was daddy issues aren't limited to black women because that's all I care about right now. Some of the things that we discuss may or may not be specific to black women, but I felt the need to say that, but I didn't say it this time because I wanted to focus specifically on black men. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the discussion up, right? Let me go ahead and get to it.
Right.
Man, you one of the first people I talked to after my dad passed. RIP Johnny Vinziant on 23 December 2018. It hadn't been a month yet. Been close to it, but it hadn't been a month. And I made a few posts because I didn't feel like I was alone. I felt like a lot of black men may have shared my grievances. And in one of the few posts that I posted, like, when was the last time your dad told you he loved you? And another thing was, I think I discussed with a couple of my friends leading up to that moment was what constitutes a deadbeat? Because nowadays these definitions have evolved as they should. And my dad will probably fit into the deadbeat conversation as though a lot of men would, that have been raised from that generation. Correct?
Oh, yeah.
Because they were always taught that what you do determines what you love. And at one point, I did find myself boxing my pops in. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't on Facebook. Even if he was alive, he wouldn't have been. He wouldn't have been on Twitter. He wouldn't have been on IG. None of that. And in that discussion with myself, I was trying to hold him to standards that he wouldn't adhere to, So his definition would be completely different than anything that I had ever seen. He died right after that conversation. I would say it wasn't even a week. I think he might have died 4 or 5 days right after that. Okay. So I had to come back and revisit the conversation that I was having with myself because this ain't nothing that I would have ever challenged my pops with. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a real conversation that I had to deal with, So in that, I had to reconcile with the fact that, social media has an influence. The preponderance of information and access to it has an influence. That ain't got nothing to do with social media specifically, but the internet has more to do with that. But but yet and still, I reached a point where I had to talk about how many black men actually had dads that told them that they loved them. Because, like, for me, my dad never told me he loved me. If he told me, I don't remember. And I'm not making that up. When I graduated high school, I had multiple people telling me that I was going to go off to do great things. And I'm paraphrasing that part. But I had... I didn't have that same support from my pops, man. Like he told me I was gonna flunk out of college, And I know that it was this twisted way of trying to motivate me he didn't see it as twisted then, but like as I got older, I recognize that that's not the way you're supposed to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That wasn't it.
Nah, that's not it. Like we couldn't tell our kids that. You know what I'm saying? At this point in time in our lives, right?
Yeah, you're a monster if you said that today.
Correct. And I haven't yet found a way to put that in the right lanes because I wrestle with that, you know, and it's passing. So, but I'm honest about it to myself.
Yeah.
So how do you process that?
That is, I think that's more common than we talk about.
Man,
that's a lot of weight to carry,
bro? That's a lot
a long time,
bro. I felt angry, and I'm still working through it, you know, because I know it didn't come from a malicious place, but that don't mean it don't still have the same residual impacts, you know.
Right. Even if you kind of understand it a little bit, it still hurts. So it's like that you constantly have to wrestle with where my dad was doing the best that he could with what he had. That was the way he was taught.
Yep.
But in your learning a different way, you might be thinking, why didn't he learn a different way?
Man, I'm off camera right now, but I'm talking and I hear what you're saying.
Why didn't he learn a different way? And then to be able to carry that 20-something years, 30-something years, that has an impact on your relationship as the years went past. Like your relationship with him was changing because you never got over that.
Well,
he might have been thinking that he did it like it worked.
Yeah, like for real.
So y'all got two different perspectives on it. He looking like, okay, I did what I had to do, it worked. And then you looking at it like, man, I'm a little damaged because of that.
Correct. Or am I motivated?
Had the success without the damage.
Or am I?
I could have had the motivation without the damage.
Correct. Am I motivated without the damage?
Or what kind of motivation do you want?
And that's all I'm about to say. Would I been less motivated
to prove you wrong?
Like the issue that one of the things I wrestle with is like, would I be less motivated without him, without his words?
Right. I would argue no.
Come here, Polo. Hey man, I gotta give my dog a shot in a minute. Hey, for those of y'all paying attention, my dog is a diabetic. He get insulin twice a day. Come here, Polo. And right now, he don't want to get up. He probably in there laying down.
He know it's shot time.
Right, you know it's shot time. I need to get some plastic and round it.
So what?
Some plastic. Because he think it's a snack in that thing. You know what I'm saying? Polo. Come here, boy. Man, like, yo, that's a weird gray area though, right? Like, you didn't think it would matter when you was a kid, but it's there. Come on. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you showing up. He finally showed up. Yeah.
So yeah, how do you bring that up? What do you say?
Man, and it's the thing, man. Like when it started to bother me, you know what I'm saying? I lost my pops a week later. So I didn't get a chance to talk to him about it. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lack of closure in that. But I know it didn't come from a negative place. You know?
Right.
So I'm okay with that logic. Because you only deal with stuff based on geography. And geography is relative to time, exposure, completely different variables than what we got to, well, it's the same variables actually, but like when you induce different information that changes how you see your environment, you're able to have a different conversation. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my pops weren't able to have that same conversation that we've evolved to at this point, you know, and I missed that opportunity, you know, because of his death. And I don't fault him for it. I think he did the best thing that he did with what he had to work with. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no reason to condemn him or nothing like that. I got some particulars that I'm still salty about, but it ain't for everybody's, you know what I'm saying, understanding.
Right.
So, but I know I'm not the only one that deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be a mother or a dad, it's just completely out of the era. You know what I'm saying? Where men and women didn't have room to explain themselves or how they function. So that's why I made the post where I said daddy issues aren't limited to women, because women have always been demonized by, oh man, she got daddy issues.
Yeah, and that's got a negative. Like that's that whole who hurt you thing.
Right. Like, bro, we got daddy issues
like,
too.
We can't even,
you know,
I'm hurt too.
Like you ain't got to.
I think once we get an understanding of that, man, everybody's hurt.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's hurt. Bro, which is, you know what I'm saying, like the part of the title or concept to my next book is that we're surviving love from hurt places. Tell me that we're not. The energy that we carry into our current relationships is based on how we survive love from hurt places.
Exactly.
You know, like my pop's legacy is dope. Is one that's pretty dope. I ain't never had nobody, you know what I'm saying, like speak negative about him. You know, out of everybody that came to the wake, like that you saw, they ain't had no face on.
Right.
You know, it came from a genuine place of affection, right?
Right.
Because like you was there, you seen it. That was his effect on other people. That wasn't him trying to preserve, you know what I'm saying, to protect his sons or his or his wife, which is my mom. That was him, you know what I'm saying, his own spirit having bearing and accountability on how he treated other people. Correct?
Right. Because I remember I was having a conversation with a dude, I don't remember his name, but I guess him and your dad worked together, but he was like, yo, we just go eat lunch together. Like, that's how he knew him. Like the dude that eat lunch with every day. And it's just like, even with the simple interactions, you come away with the same
vibe, right?
With the same thing. Like
he wasn't exaggerating.
He was just a super cool, solid dude. Like,
yeah,
that's just who he was. Even with the dude he just ate lunch with. Okay.
So one of my partners on,
that's just rare. You don't see that in a lot of people.
Yeah, straight up, to be as consistent in third person as you are in first person, that's a rarity.
Because somebody always show up to hate.
Yeah, straight up. So this is a comment from one of my partners on Facebook named Johnny Vinziant, right? He said he had problems expressing himself in his marriage and just dealing with issues in life because of the harsh motivation he thinks he needs to give. He said this is maybe the reason that he can't tell his own daughter that he loves her dearly and that she is wanted. You know, it takes a lot of self-admission for a black man to own up to what he's not doing correctly, because even though he felt the necessity in writing that, and whether he realizes the connection of how important that might be, that's another conversation. But like our parents have a subconscious effect on us even after they pass. That's the whole point of this whole topic.
Right.
Do we agree with that? I mean, like, you got both your parents, but like,
Yep.
Sometimes you are afraid to bring them up because they're going to conveniently not remember, because it's not a shining moment in their past. You know what I'm saying? That they want to recall. Right. And I can't fault them for that, because overall we still turned out not to be serial killers. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Right.
Like, we trying to relegate it to what's important not to have become to where we are right now. And
exactly.
You know, based on the energy they had to work with, I mean, I went through a moment, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll say for myself, where I was trying to rationalize my dad's death. But I had a moment prior to his death where I was trying to figure out, did he do all he can do? And the reality is, he did all he knew. Because we just got to
really all you can do.
That's really all you can do. And we just finally got to a point where we can have conversations as men, you know what I'm saying, about the psychoanalysis of men, especially black men. So I'm not mad at him, you know, and maybe I needed to have this conversation in order to talk it out and rationalize it or whatever, you know. But I know he didn't come from a negative place when he came to me. I don't think that was either the case, you know what I'm saying, that had to do with my brother either. But what I'm saying is that we have to look at, you know what I'm saying, these things from our past and see if they're applicable going forward.
Yeah. And if they're not, you don't hold on to them.
Bruh, like, how do we benefit by holding on to some of these things? Like,
other than not repeating it, there's no value in holding on to that stuff.
Correct. So that was my reconciliation with those particular topics, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a overnight thing. It's a developing way of trying to cope.
Right, you got that's a process, because it's so many emotions. Mm-hmm. One day you might be angry about it. The next day you can start to see some understanding, or it's just a constant battle, man. That's hard. I wouldn't even know where to begin with that.
Man, yeah. Like, for me, I'm not comfortable with getting into the particulars, you know what I'm saying, as to the angst that I feel right now. Because I don't think everybody has instant access to that. You know, because I'm not going to allow somebody to repaint a picture about a man that made me who I am today. If people tell me that they respect me today, my daddy has something to do with that. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So it ain't for me to go out and misrepresent him either, because I'm an extension of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm comfortable with that uncertainty, if that makes sense right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm able to articulate it. So
yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. But man, look, it's my friend Andrea that called in earlier. She said she had no idea that men felt the way you guys are talking about. I just thought you guys were stone cold emotionally and just blocked and didn't feel the things that hurt you. Man, it's true. You know what I'm saying? Like, this has been a discussion that that we've had to own up to. You know what I'm saying? And everybody ain't got access to it, you know, but like because even now I'm talking about things that nobody knows the details of specifically, but that doesn't mean it doesn't impact me. It doesn't mean it's not incorporated in my forward decision making. You know what I'm saying? So we be fucked up from a whole nother level, you know what I'm saying? And
That's right out
impacted
the
in a
gate.
different way
That's right out the gate.
out the gate. And look, and I try to refrain from saying that because I don't want to come off as though we're making an excuse, and that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is that we got different variables that amount to the same fucking confusion.
That's what it is. It's just a variable, man. Something to keep in mind.
Yep. Okay. So,
something to keep in mind.
Man, look, I think I made it down to number 6. Ooh. It's about to get salty. What your battery life got going on?
All right, I'm good. Let me plug in.
All right, cool. You know, man, because number 6 is the trans community focused on social issues that are specific to Black people. And I'm talking about police brutality specifically. Because I got to work with small things, right?
Right.
So I had a discussion. I had a post on Facebook during the 10-year challenge that was going around. And I reposted this picture of this dude that became a woman. And a friend of mine that I was in the army with felt as though I was attacking, you know what I'm saying, the trans woman. And I didn't have any, you know what I'm saying, negative comments towards it at all. I reposted the picture. And I will say that some of the negativity that was displayed in the comments, I couldn't address it all. It's just too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I get to a point where you can't target it off. I just thought that the change was significant. And that was what the 10-year challenge was about, wasn't it? But ultimately, why do we feel like, not we, why do some people that we have access to feel as though trans people, gay people in the LGBTQ community deserve a specific level of protection? Like, it's cool for them to laugh until they don't benefit from it, or what?
Right.
Because them 10-year jokes, they wasn't limited, you know what I'm saying, to any and everybody or a specific demographic or sexual orientation at all.
It's like once you mention them, it's not a joke anymore.
Yeah, like once you talk about sexual inclusivity, they become the only exception. And I don't know how I know it's not the universal answer. You know what I'm saying? It is in politics and social media and in media in general. But like, if you fat, you get joked on for being fat. If you short, you get joked on for being short. If your hair fucked up, you get joked on for your hair being fucked up, right?
Right.
Why is it not cool or why is it so taboo at this point in our society for Black people? I guess Black people to limit themselves at being trans, you know what I'm saying, or gay. Like, they exhibit a lifestyle that's got jokes associated with it. Why do they seem protected? That's where I feel that they are by some of the people that have responded in my timeline. Because, like, bro, we don't talk about light skin, dark skin, white folks, you know what I'm saying, sexual orientation, everything else in the past. So some things are very specific to America. Like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom while you talk about it. I'm gonna let you get in trouble by yourself. I just brought the question up.
Right, like what makes them so different?
I'll be back.
Because there has to be memes or whatnot about straight people. There are memes about everybody. They make jokes about everybody. So why is it that people in that community feel like that they're extra sensitive about everything? like if you want to be honest about it, to me it seems like they get more accommodations than the black community gets. Because everything with them is an issue. It's always a petition. It's always immediate action towards their needs in particular. They are a community just like every other community. Isn't that the whole fight? Is that what the fight for, to be looked at like everyone else? Then you can't pick and choose when you want to be treated like everybody else. You either gonna be treated like everybody else, or we gonna put you, or you want to be placed somewhere else to be treated different from everybody else, because you're asking for preferential treatment in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Okay. I came in at the end.
So I was just saying that if we gonna treat everybody equally or treat everybody on the same level, that the transgender, gay, homosexual community, they're a community just like the other communities.
Right.
Just like the black community, just like whatever community.
I've seen every community get it. And I like to see a day where don't nobody get it. But my point is that what makes them exempt?
Nothing should make them exempt. Why do they feel like they should be? Why is everything so hypersensitive over there? Like there's always, and they get preferential treatment now. They get more accommodations than the black community gets.
Okay, so Andrea, who's still with us, says maybe it's because the jokes are coming from people outside of their community. For example, black people can make ghetto jokes, missing baby daddy jokes, etc. But let someone white do it, people are going to lose their minds. Let me go ahead and say something on that. Black people that aren't easily influenced by folks outside of our community that recognize that folks that have always been talking about us, we don't give a fuck. I can't control what a person from Mississippi that waves a Confederate flag or KKK affiliation. I don't give a fuck what they say about us. You know what I'm saying? It's the folks that pretend that they fuck with us that I care most about. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. There are black people that like the baby mama ghetto and all that. There are black people that don't associate themselves with that think that's funny too.
Yeah. Straight up.
There's a divide right there too.
Right.
Like I'm not ghetto and I don't have a baby daddy.
Yep.
I think that's funny too.
Yep. I know
that's funny too.
Bro, I know some black people that shame folks because they rent.
Right.
Like,
and that's what I'm saying. That's going on within the same community.
Right. Within the same.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Within the same community. So how come? So I don't agree with because it's coming from another community. We only allowed to joke on our community because we joke on white people too, and they laugh. Straight up,
you know.
White people laugh at all that unseasoned shit that be going around.
Straight up, like, look,
they laugh at it,
bro. Like white people don't get challenged with the ownership of saying, "Hey, you need to police up your trailer parks," while black people get challenged with policing up the inner city where black people live. What the fuck that got to do with everybody else? Like, I don't
even
live
if I'm
in
not from there.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what I'm saying is that community doesn't necessarily reflect me. And there's nothing wrong with that because there are non-trans communities that don't reflect who the fuck I think I am. You know what I'm saying? I do think that I'm better than a lot of the situations that people like to try to generalize and box us into, you know? And we should think so. It's not necessarily the best political approach, but I'm not government assistance. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. It's not me. my hustle gonna be way stronger than my circumstances, and that's just how I'm built.
Right.
You can take from that whatever you want to, but I'm not in the trans community. I'm not in the LB GT. I'm not sure if I got every LB, whatever it is.
That's why I never said.
Right.
Never
I'm not in the gay or trans community. I don't know shit about it.
But see, somebody will take that and say they're offended. It's just that simple.
Yeah, but
I don't remember all the letters. They're offended.
Hey, but fuck if they offended right now. You know what I'm saying? Because this is my fucking timeline. And if they got a fucking problem with it, they can go ahead and comment. You know what I'm saying? They can call.
Yeah, see, the gunshots go right. The gunshots go right there.
Them gunshots is whack, bro. But those are like off in the distance. Yeah. But like for me, I'm talking about what my personal experience is. I don't have nothing against the, you know what I'm saying, the trans or gay community at all. And just because, you know what I'm saying, I think about the social equity in Black people's situations, that doesn't mean I don't respect what their platform is. But because I don't live that specific life, I don't feel confident and able, you know what I'm saying, in terms of comment on that based on my personal everyday travels. Right. And I think that comes from a form of respect more than anything. Because this is the other thing too. I've never seen a crowd of the trans/gay community marching on behalf of Black people in their equity and negligent police activity. Mm-hmm. Right. You see what I'm saying? Like I ain't never seen them saying like stop killing Black people. And I guarantee you that with Black people being part of that community, there'll be a certain facet of fluid Black people that wouldn't have a problem with, you know what I'm saying, protesting or recognizing their issues, their social issues that are specific to their community. Right. Because Black people have always managed to have a faction of society that's sympathetic to somebody else's issues. Because I don't think that violence towards gays and trans should be an acceptable practice. I think they deserve to have a life of predictability where their safety is not in question.
Exactly.
Bruh, only people I think they need to be murked is racists. You know what I'm saying? Like if something happened to them, man, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? If racists get murked, fuck them.
They weren't here to do no good no way.
No, they've been profiting off of you know what I'm saying, the lore associated with their ancestors, that they willingly find ways to connect to them. You know what I'm saying? Even if their great grandmamas was bust downs, you know what I'm saying, to create them, you know, to create their bloodline. They was trash at some point. But I don't give a fuck about that because that's not tangible. That's not something that I can affect right now. You know?
Right.
What I can affect is having this conversation, putting it out there and letting them know that nobody's against you. You know what I'm saying?
No,
but
it's not.
But I will say this though. There's a level of sensitivity that's getting translated as something that's being anti. And I can have an opinion about something without it being anti. I can be pro something without being anti. Okay. I'll say this. If you go back and look at the history of the lesbian/gay/trans community, one of their most significant moments was them marching on Washington, right? And within that, the body of it was still disrespectful as hell, because they liken number one, they liken their discrimination to oppression. One is not synonymous with the other.
No.
Lesbian and gay folks have always been able to vote. They have never been denied education. They have never been seen as less than human beings.
They've never been
based on sexuality. That the sexuality has never been a cause for an amendment in the fucking Constitution.
Right.
So for a lot of lesbian, gay, and trans folks, they dwell on the outside of that whole narrative and pick and choose from when black applies to them. Do we agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is that I haven't seen the same intensity behind recognizing that black people have an individual struggle as I have seen the intensity and buildup of black people that are part of the gay community being seen as inclusive into America.
Right. You're absolutely right.
And let me go ahead and caveat that. That's based on my geography. Okay. Because like people in Atlanta might have a different story. People in New York might have a different story. People in California might have a different story. People in Chicago might have a different story. I just want to put that as my personal experience. I ain't never had, I've never seen in my timeline, as far as social media is concerned, where the lesbian, gay, and the trans community have come out and said, fuck the police. Or Black Lives Matter. I know people.
Not as a community, no.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the LBGT, whatever that acronym is, has not come out.
The black people in that community.
Improper. Like when the NAACP say some shit, like we know it's the NAACP, right?
Right.
I have never seen the LBGT community come out. LBGQT. I'm not even sure, but I don't want to leave out any part because I don't really want to offend anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I have never seen that particular community come out en masse and denounce not necessarily the mistreatment of people that function the way that they do, but folks that represent folks that look like them within that community.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yep. And then my friend Andrea said, but does the black community come out in support of LGBT as a community? And I think that that's a reciprocal divide. You know what I'm saying? Like, until you do something for us, why should we do something for you?
Oh, but see, that's gonna be some.
But
that's where it's gonna get tricky.
I see that. But the thing,
it's gonna be some, because all black people you're not gonna get that. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get the black community as a whole to do that.
Yeah, and Andrea hit another.
Way too many church folk.
Yeah, straight up. I get the variables in it, but I'm here to introduce a topic that don't nobody necessarily want to discuss. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about my personal experiences based on the commentary I've received over, a couple, days or so, right? So, like, for instance, let's see here. Let me look at some of these comments, right? Because I'm sure a fight gonna take place. She said, Andrea, who's always active, I appreciate Andrea. She says, but does the black community come out in support of LGBT? We got issues that are associated with our presentation, our outside and our exterior. So, like, nobody knows your sexuality until you tell them.
Right. And black people are still trying to get human rights.
Like, can we work on the human rights first?
But because that's a subgenre.
Like, I'm not saying that.
You're trying to get human rights, and they're looking for specific human rights.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to be a human.
I've never been a fan of introducing the concept of comparison between the civil rights struggle and what the gay community, gay/trans community.
No comparison.
Because like nobody's ever denied trans people the access to education, voting, jobs, all these other things that you can think of that the civil rights movement created.
Right.
And I don't have any adverse feelings towards the LG, TB community, at all. Because I'm a heterosexual male and I'm married to a white, to a black woman, not a white woman, not a woman outside of my community. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I'm invested in my people, but I have yet to see the black people within the lesbian, gay, and trans community, come out in full force the same way they come out for their own desire for sexuality and inclusion. And I don't think it's wrong to discuss that. But like somebody might be offended that we even discussing this.
Yeah, if they offended by discussing that, they got offended a long time ago. So
correct. Yeah. Like, nobody knows your sexuality until you confirm it.
Right. So why do we think? Is it a conscious effort? Or is it just oversight? Is it just merely a focus? Like we're so focused on our rights that we're not taking those into account? Or is that community divided? Okay. Like I can tell you right now that let me go ahead and qualify what I'm about to say. Based on what I see on social media, I have seen gay Trump supporters, and I'm not sure why, but I'm hey man, turn him off. Tell him to chill out. Come on, fam.
Yo, I have seen gay Trump supporters. If there's never ever been a campaign that was sympathetic to the access and privilege to gay people, is probably this one. You know what I'm saying? With Trump and his administration. So
what? Say that again?
I have never seen an administration that was so less inclusive to gay and lesbian people of that community than this one. Like Obama's administration was largely regarded as the gay administration in some conversations.
That's a critique from black people about him.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like he was the 8 years of whatever we want to get past, we're gonna get it past. You know what I'm saying? For that community.
Hurry up and get in line.
Yep. So that's not a default on him, because I do feel like we got to have everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because if we limit access to the black community, you know what I'm saying, based on being heterosexual, we're going to be fucked up anyway. Because we trash. Like it's like, I watched Killer Mike's docuseries this weekend, and even he had the influence of and perspectives of gay and trans folks. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have them included. I'm not dismissing them at all. That's just not what the fuck I get down with. You know what I'm saying? I like vagina.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I like being a penis in the vaginal situation. I like being a penis in the vaginal situation. That's what it is. Yo, there's no disrespect in that. If you like getting your back pumped, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit don't impact how I function every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna drink my glass of water different because you like getting your back pumped. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
that's your preference.
That's your preference. That don't make you less black. But what I'm saying is that there has to be a handshake between both sides in that regard. And we're gonna have certain preferences, you know what I'm saying, about where we will and will not kick it. And just because you might want to see us more active in y'all community and some of y'all social events or something like that, they don't change the fact that we don't see y'all as less than human either.
Yeah, no, I'm not participating in any of that. If that's what they're looking for, I'm out on that.
Correct. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's folks in the bike community that's black, and I ride with a club, but I'm not going to their shit. And it's for the same reasons. I don't fuck with y'all.
Like, no, right. And that's okay. Why can't that be okay?
It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how many Comic-Cons we probably didn't go to because we don't fuck with anime? Like,
right.
That's what you do. That's not what I do. I'm cool.
And I can be cool with you and not, I'm not going.
And at the same time, I'm not going to speak on your downfall.
No.
It's not cool. It's not cool if your safety is in question. I'm going to go ahead and say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit ain't right. Yo, like
you probably shouldn't be fucking with that, but anything else, man, go do what you do.
Correct. Like, I have nothing ill to say towards the lesbian, gay, and trans community and bisexual community. I think that's part of it too. So I'm not sure what order it's in or none of that. But what I will say is this, that they deserve to be seen as humane. You know what I'm saying? They're going to take care of each other.
Because they are.
They human beings. They're human beings.
Period.
So.
Period. End of discussion. Like, what else is there to talk about?
Right. And look, straight up, bro, I really want to get somebody that's part of that community on this feed and see, you know what I'm saying, like what we could do to rationalize maybe their perceptions and our misconceptions.
Yeah, what they feel. I'm always interested in the thought process.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
What's happening in, like?
Yeah.
We need feedback. I mean, you just talking, but we not in that community.
Yeah, straight up, we're not in that community. So,
like, what are y'all throwing around? Like, what am I missing on? What's on y'all timeline?
Yeah,
that can help us better understand where y'all coming from, as far as what would make y'all feel respected.
Hey man, we can get the screenshots. I'm cool with that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got nobody in my timeline that reflect those issues, and that's not my fault. Maybe it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm open to anything, you know what I'm saying, until it bashes my folks. If it misrepresents me, I'm not fucking with it. You know what I'm saying?
Period.
So, period. Straight up. So, man, look, this been a good chat, bro. That's the end of it. Yeah, man. I love the way
that works,
bro. I love the way we run it, man. When you need to go ahead on and move out here to Texas, man, so you just pull it right on up.
Man, so I'm telling you, man, so we can get this going and do it right, man.
Bro,
Keep coming, bro.
Hey,
on the way.
Hey, when you get here, you know what I'm saying, bring that little baby. You know what I'm saying, when the baby get here, and you know it's supposed to be A1. You know what I'm saying, like.
Yes. Oh, it's going down.
There's no reason why this.
Hey, man, fresh stuff.
Yo, there's no reason why this wouldn't work. I ain't got nobody that wouldn't support it. I ain't got nobody to tell me I need to shut the hell up. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nobody that I'm not objective enough with, that we can't build a certain rapport with. You know what I'm saying? To make us greater. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, to me, what's important is that we got to benefit from the right circumstances. We can't go out here and do shit that misrepresents us in order to get paid, right? So this is important to me. It has to be. Like, in the past, we were raised under the principles that it ain't business, it's personal. But at some point, business has to become personal if you're gonna do it well.
Right, because you're doing business with people.
Because other than that, you're just gonna do it good enough to get a check. And I don't care about the check.
Right.
This is something that, you know what I'm saying?
About the check.
Yeah, like the check gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
As long as you're doing it the right way, man.
You got to do it the right way.
You know what I'm saying? Do it the right way. It's for the right reasons, man. Money gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna come. You ain't got to force it, and you ain't got to screw nobody in business every time either.
Straight up.
Nobody has to lose every time.
Bro, why everybody got to take an L?
Nope.
We ain't doing
gotta
that.
be that way.
We ain't doing that.
Somebody told us it gotta be that way, but they weren't doing good business. We can let's do good business.
Yeah. Yeah, I think good business comes from practice and frequency, man. You know what I'm saying? Like if I care about what you're trying to do, I gotta make it a point to make that my objective as your cousin, as family. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta create that space where you feel like if you got your shit to talk and you want to lead it that day, then I'm on it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't my cousin by default. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the reality is you ain't got to do shit special to be family. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do shit special to be blood. But
all day long.
It's what you do when you get that opportunity is that make you family. You know, that's what make you family.
Right, 100%. What you do in that space.
Yeah.
Like, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Relationships, man. Relationships make you family.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got a lot of family you have zero relationship with. Like zero at all.
Bro.
Probably will never talk to again.
Bro, I got folks I want to add on
That's
Facebook.
bring you together.
Bro, I got folks I want to add on Facebook in our family. I won't add them because they can't spell.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, man.
I'm not doing that.
I hate you. I got to get you out of here. I will not do it.
I'm sorry.
I will not do it.
If y'all watching, it ain't nothing personal. It's principle.
Yeah. I'm just not checking that. 8 o'clock in the morning, that ain't what I'm trying to see.
Using the wrong theirs and every other, you know what I'm saying, homophone or whatever.
No, I'm not doing it.
You're not finna confuse me. You're not finna confuse me while I'm trying to get on the treadmill. No.
No. And I hate the memes, like the stupid memes. Like if I got one good girl, I don't need 100 hoes. Like, okay, I get it, bro. I don't need them in my life. I got you. You don't want to be a player no more. I feel you.
Yeah, I don't need.
Understand.
Yeah, we don't need that coming from folks within the bloodline. You know what I'm saying?
Right, like, nah, I'm cool. Find something else to do, man.
Hey, well,
but if that's what, you know what I'm saying, if that's how you want, this is your page. If that's how you want to get that.
Hey,
There's
man.
so many options on here for me that never see you.
Hey, I'm gonna let you get up out of here, bro, because I took up enough of your time. But I appreciate you being available.
Always, man, always.
Hey, salute. We'll chop it up tomorrow, I'm sure. Hey, man, hit me up after you get out there, get from under that thing. You know what I'm saying, under that knife. And if you got to hit me up beforehand, go ahead. If I don't answer, just shoot me a text.
All right, my boy.
All right, man. Love you.
I love you too, man.
Yep.
Yep.
Hey, man, for everybody that tune in, hey, sleepers wake up to fulfill the dreams of those that they work for. That's all I got, man. Peace. And I'll see you on the next one.